The Bulldogs had quite a few swimmers qualify for states at last week's meet, and looking to add a few more tonight as new head coach Annie DeWitt looks to expand upon the number of events these kids qualify for. Very deep teams in both the men's and women's this year, so having as many swimmers qualify for as many events as possible will garner enough points when the two teams compete in state championships. And certainly these two teams are built with, again, a lot of depth and an opportunity to potentially win a state championship this year. The women coming off a second place finish and the men just missing out on the podium. But this year, with the addition of a very strong freshman class and the addition of a couple of older swimmers who have returned to the team, should make for a very competitive team. Coach Annie DeWitt, again, new to Bedford Bulldogs swimming this year. She joins Coach Pratt. Timers getting their final instructions on the pool deck as ready for 2 heats of the girls 200 freestyle. The first heat will be comprised of 3 freshman swimmers, with Audrey Sambrook swimming in lane 2, Fiona Lee in lane 3, and Stella Matters in lane 4. We appreciate you tuning in to watch this Bulldog swim team get underway. For some reason, they disconnected the timing board. Again, very different this year for the Bulldog swim team. Typically, this would be a dual meet or a tri-meet versus other area schools, whether it be on the road or here in Goffstown as a home meet. But these kids are developing opportunities to swim in a meet-based format, and again, hopefully qualifying for states. Well, as you may have heard, that was a whistle to start the first event. Not sure if they're trying to work on the timing system, and unfortunately, we won't be able to read off results. Again, Sambrook is in lane 2, Fiona Lee in lane 3, and Matters in lane 4. So until they can get the timing pads up and running, we unfortunately will be able to provide official times to you, those watching at home. The girls enter their second 50 of the 200 free. And Sambrook closing in on completion of 150 of the 200 yards. Then Sandbrook in lane 2, Lee in lane 3, and Matters in lane 4. All three freshman swimmers. And Sandbrook will glide into the wall. Completion of the 200. Again, unfortunately, can't report any times to you. All right, second heat upcoming once the first heat clears the deck. All right, coming up in the second heat of the girls 200 free, we have Jessie O'Leary in lane 2, followed by Ella Goucher in lane 3, Lauren Polson in lane 4, and Chelsea Gerard in lane 5. One of the protocols in place this year is for the first heat to clear the pool deck. Kids have the masks on until they get behind the blocks. They're going to have to take them off, and then as soon as they get out of their swims, they put them back on. All right, about to get underway here for the second heat. All right, we'll see if we can do the old-fashioned way here. We'll don a couple of stopwatches ourselves and see if we can give you some splits as they go along. Looks like Gerard is a scratch in lane 5, but we do have Jessie O'Leary, the senior, in lane 2, Ella Goucher, the sophomore, in lane 3, and then Lauren Polson, lane 4, another sophomore. Again, the girls competing in the 200 free, completing their first leg of 50. Goucher and Poles both pacing well off each other right now. Hitting the wall right around exactly a minute. Girls finishing up their third 50. And Pulse and Goucher both pushing each other here. Followed up by O'Leary. And it looks like both Goucher and Pulse will finish at about 2:06. And then O'Leary will finish in at about 2:14. Yep, 2:14. So according to the sea times, they all beat their times. So 3 good, strong swims there by the Bulldogs. Next up, we'll have one heat of the boys. All right, first heat of the boys coming here, Scott Anderson in lane 3, the senior, and in lane 4 we have Nicholas Casale, also a senior. One of the new entries into sports this year is the hand whistle, as opposed to the air whistle. It's utilized in soccer and hockey, football, and now in swimming as well. Anderson and Casale both looking strong here. Closing in on the first 100 of the 200. Anderson hitting the wall at 57 and followed closely behind by Casale. So a split time of 57 for Anderson. Obviously a much different way to swim. You lose that competitiveness, if you will, when you're competing against just your teammates as opposed to other schools. And it's obviously a lot more energetic in the pool area and pool deck when you have teams at the end of the lanes cheering for their fellow swimmers. But nonetheless, with so many swimmers trying to push and try to qualify for states, that's certainly enough inspiration. And Anderson will hit the wall at a time of 1:59. Sally closing here in the final 12 and a half yards. And he will hit the roll around 2:16, 2:15, which beats his seed time. Coming up next, the girls 200 IM. There'll be 2 heats. As the girls make their way behind the blocks, we have Millen and Whitney in lane 2, Tegan Jeffers in lane 3, and Grace Van Valkenburg in lane 4. 2 freshmen and a sophomore. Again, part of this strong up-and-coming young group of swimmers representing the Bulldogs. This event will be comprised of a 50 fly, a 50 backstroke, 50 breaststroke, and 50 freestyle. Again, Whitney in lane 2, Jeffers in lane 4, and lane 3, and Van Valkenburg in lane 4, as they all 3 hit the wall and turn into backstroke. And they'll flip their way into the breaststroke, the third leg. All three coming with no posted high school time, but again, that's what these meets are for, to try to assemble as many kids qualifying for as many events as possible to put the best and strongest and fastest team into the entry of the state meet. Jeffers will begin the final leg of the freestyle, followed by Whitney, and then closely followed by Van Valkenburg. And Jeffers will hit the wall at 2:17, followed by Whitney at around 2:25. And then Valkenburg will finish with a time right around 2:33. Again, unfortunately, can't bring you precise scores despite the timing pads. There must have been a malfunction in the timing system, so the board isn't working this evening. But there are two timers behind each block, and we'll do our best to get you unofficial times. The second heat will make their way behind the blocks. We have senior Julia Strimling in lane 2, senior Isabel Taliaferro in lane 3, senior Reagan Rick in lane 4, and then sophomore Erin Chandonette in lane 5. And the girls are off the blocks and into the first 50 of butterfly. Again, Strimling in lane 2, Taliaferro in lane 3, Rick in lane 4, and Chandonette in lane 5. And as the camera works, you're working the 1 through 6 across from nearest to farthest. As you're watching from home, all the girls are into the backstroke, the second leg. And all about to make the turn into the breaststroke. And the girls begin their final leg of the 200 individual medley with the freestyle event, or the freestyle stroke, I should say. Tyler Farrell will touch the wall at around 2:23. Followed up by Reagan Rick. Will touch at 2:33. And then Strimling at 2:39. And Chandonnet. So probably around 2:38 for Strimling and 2:39 for Chandonnet. This team comprised of a lot of siblings or former siblings, previous swimmers for the Bulldogs representing the school in the pool. Next up, we have the heat of boys in the 200 individual medley. We have Dylan Bradshear in lane 2, Jack Buffett in lane 3, Jake Oster in lane 4, and Evan Allen in lane 5. Bradshear, one of the new additions to the team this year, coming in as a sophomore. Jack Buffett, the senior, in lane 3. And then Jake Oster and Evan Allen, part of the strong group of freshmen that's coming into the program. Allen, an example of one of the siblings, as his 2 older brothers also swam for the Bulldogs. As the boys make the turn into the backstroke. All 3 boys neck and neck as they head into the first 25. These meets, as opposed to typical meets, move at a very, very quick pace as they get the kids in and out. Typically, you do the fly over top with leaving kids in the pool as you start the next event, but due to the limitations and regulations, because as a result of the pandemic, we have the swimmers clear the pool first before the next heat gets in, but still they move the kids in one side and have the next group ready to go. As all 4 of these boys finish up the final stroke. Evan Allen will head in first, touching it at 2:09, followed by Jack Buffett at 2:11. And then Dylan Bradshear at 2:14. And Jake Oster, the freshman, very new to the sport, but a good, strong contributor to this good young team. And he will touch the wall at 2:27. Unofficially. So 4 good swims by the Bulldog boys. Next up is the 50-yard freestyle. There'll be 2 heats. All right. Girls step up to the blocks. In lane 2, we have freshman Sophia Kasem, and in lane 3, we have another freshman in Stella Matters. The girls into their turns. And Matters will touch in at a 31. And Kasem at a 32. Unofficially. Next up, the second heat of girls. As they're motioned in by the official. In lane 2, we'll have Emily Richardson. In lane 3, we'll have Megan Lyden. In lane 4, we'll have Fiona Lee. And in lane 5, we'll have Kennedy Healy. Emily Richardson, a junior. Also on one of the siblings who had a older sister who swam for the Bulldogs, followed by Megan Lyden. Again, also had a sister who now swims collegiately at Assumption. Fiona Lee in lane 4, and she's a freshman, has been followed up by Kennedy Healy, another one of the graduating senior class. And Lyden will touch in at a 25, and then followed closely there by Richardson and Lee, and then closed out by Kennedy Healy at 32. I think the 25, unofficial 25-12 by Megan Lyden might have been the fastest 50 free of the young Bulldog season for the women. Good, again, as Coach Annie DeWitt and Coach Pratt look to develop as much depth as they plan for championships and how to get the most points. 2 heats of upcoming of the boys, 50 free as well. In the first heat, we'll have Richie Black, freshman in lane 2, Sam O'Leary, sophomore in lane 3, and Will O'Leary, his younger brother, in lane 4. Richie Black hits the turn, followed closely there by Sam O'Leary and then Will O'Leary. And Richie will touch the wall at around a 26, followed by Sam at a 28, and then Will at 31. Heat 2 for the boys upcoming. As the first heat of boys dons their masks and makes their way out from behind the blocks. In this heat, we'll have Jake Oster in lane 2, AP O'Leary in lane 3, Ian Hensley in lane 4, his older brother Quinn Hensley in lane 5, and Nick Casale in lane 6. Again, Oster, AP O'Leary, Ian Hensley, Quinn Hensley, and Nicholas Casale. Oster coming right off that 200 IM. A quick turnaround. Pretty taxing event to go from the 200 IM, but a little bit of a reprieve for the 50 free sprint. The boys are all into the turns. O'Leary out to a slight lead, followed closely by Ian Hensley. Neck and neck the boys go. Followed there by Jake Oster. And the boys both hit it at a high 25, followed closely by Jake at just a high 26, and then followed up there by both Quinn Hensley and Nick Casale at 20 in the 27s. So 5 good swims there in that heat by the boys. Next up, we have the 100 butterfly. Two heats in the girls and the 100 butterfly, and followed up by a heat of boys 100-yard butterfly. Looks like they may have switched some of the events around as they're going right to the backstroke. Oh, this is maybe a break. Are we taking a break here, Mr. Parker? It appears they might be. Bedford Bulldog Athletic Director Corey Parker here running the camera. Seems to be at every Bedford High School sporting event. Bounces from a hockey rink to a swimming pool to a basketball court to a volleyball court. Yesterday, you found him doing color commentary in the hockey game, the boys' varsity game, a 2-1 overtime win against the Trinity Pioneers over at St. Anselm College. So this typically would be the diving break at a meet that can accommodate it, and if you have divers. So it'll be just a brief break for these swimmers. And we're joined now by Athletic Director Corey Parker. He'll be joining us on the air.
Can you hear me?
Certainly, considering the pandemic and the limitations on attendees to these sporting events, it's been a great opportunity for families to at least be able to tune in on live stream or on BCTV. BCTV has certainly been a great supporter of Bulldog athletic events and trying to air as many as possible. And then Corey Parker, the athletic director, and the school have also worked hard to get as many events live streamed either by volunteers or by visiting towns if they're the opposing team or school is willing to host it and then share their feed just to allow their families to see sons and daughters or granddaughters, grandsons, etc., in their particular athletic events. So Corey Parker just shared that the state meet is currently scheduled for February 20th. So Mr. Parker is saying that some of the details still being ironed out, how these schools will compete against each other. If it'll be done in waves over a 12-hour period where you would have a block of schools participating with going out and then the next group comes in. But some of those details will be ironed out by the NHIA and the various governing bodies. But it'd be a great opportunity for these kids to be able to swim against opposition other than each other. Typically, these kids would practice 3 days a week here at the pool all together as a group. But right now, just again, based on the limitations, only able to do one night each. And they have to split the group up into smaller sizes. You take a little bit of that away, that some of that team camaraderie, but still opportunities hopefully to get these kids together on other events. So the break for the diving is over, and now we'll have the 100 butterfly. Some would say the 100 butterfly, one of the more grueling events. This, the 200 IM, and the 500 free. In this heat, we have Nikki Bezier in lane 2. We have Aaron Chandonette in lane 3, Milena Whitney in lane 4, and Tegan Jeffers in lane 5. Nikki Bashore, the freshman, Aaron Chandonette, the sophomore, and then joined by 2 additional freshmen in Whitney and Jeffers. The girls all making the turn for their final 50. Jeffers and Whitney out strong, followed by Bashore and Chandonette. Is Chandonette, the younger sister to Colin Chandonette, a baseball and football player for the Bulldogs. As Jeffers closes in, and she will touch the wall at around 106, followed by Whitney, who will hit the wall on 111, and then Bashore will touch in around 116, followed up by Chandonette at around 119. Again, unfortunately, we don't have official times to report. The timing system appears to be down at the Outlet Center this evening. We're doing our best to provide you time just on a stopwatch. Next up, we'll have the second heat of girls. As they make their way behind the blocks. Well, Reagan Rick, senior in lane 2. Followed by a couple of sophomores in Ella Goucher, Grace Van Valkenburg, and Lauren Pulse. And then senior Kennedy Healy rounds out the field in lane 6. So Rick in lane 2, Goucher in lane 3, Van Valkenburg in lane 4, Pulse in lane 5, and Healy in lane 6. And the girls are off. Goucher will touch the wall with a split time of 31, followed closely by Pulse. And then Van Valkenburg and Rick and Healy. Goucher will touch the wall on 106, followed up by Pulse at 107. And then Valkenburg around 111. Rick around 117 and Healy at 122. Next up, we'll have the boys. 2 of the seniors about to go head-to-head against each other. These 2 good friends about to do battle in the pool. We have Scott Anderson, the senior in lane 3, and Jack Puppa, the senior in lane 4. Coach DeWitt doing her best to create some competition amongst the swimmers in these events. Try to push these swimmers to create a sense of a dual meet or tri meet. Anderson will make the turn right around 26 seconds, followed by Anderson at 28. Anderson about a body length and a half ahead. And Scott Anderson will touch the raw right around 56 seconds, and followed there by Jack Buffett at 59 seconds. So 2 good swims by these seniors, very strong swimmers, both with smiles right now, despite the rigors of the 100 fly. Next up, we'll have a heat of the girls' 100-yard freestyle. And the girls are off. And it looks like we had a late addition to this event. Looks like Erin Chandonette has joined the group. She'll be in lane 2. Jessie O'Leary in lane 3 and Emily Richardson in lane 4. Richardson will touch the wall on the turn at 28.51 approximately. And then followed closely behind by Jessie O'Leary and I believe Erin Chandonette as well. Richardson closing fast. She'll touch the wall at approximately 59.95, followed there quickly by O'Leary 102, and then closed out by Chandonette at 106. And it was, in fact, Julia Stremling there. They did a couple of lane switches with a late scratch. The boys will make their way behind the blocks with Ian Hinsley, sophomore in lane 3, his brother Quinn Hinsley, the junior in lane 4, and then Willow Leary, a freshman in lane 5. So again, these brothers, the Hinsleys, will do battle. Quinn Hinsley just returning back to swimming after several years off, looking to qualify for states in multiple events. But right now, his younger brother Ian out to a couple body length lead on him, and then followed closely by Willow Leary, the freshman. Inslee closing in, and he will touch the wall at approximately 54 seconds. Good swim there by Ian. And then his older brother Quinn will touch the wall at 103. And then Will O'Leary will come in at 112. Next up will be the 500 free. Unless your child is swimming, this is a good time to go get a snack and a beverage, as this event logs a good 5+ minutes. As the Heated girls makes their way behind the blocks, again, Coach Annie DeWitt and Coach Pratt putting together a solid group of swimmers here to compete. We'll have sophomore Lauren Polson lane 2, senior Isabel Taliaferro in lane 3, sophomore Ella Goucher in lane 4, junior Megan Leiden in lane 5, and then freshman Audrey Sandbrook in lane 6. So it's Polson 2, Taliaferro in lane 3, Goucher in lane 4, Leiden in lane 5, and Sandbrook in lane 6. Typically in this event, you're looking to be right around 30 seconds in each of your pacing at each in one of your 50s. As Leiden and Taliaferro close in on the first 100. They'll take their turns and right around the 101 mark. Followed closely there by Pols, Goucher, and Sandbrook. Girls all finishing up 150 yards of this 500-yard event and into the 200. Again, Leiden and Taliaferro taking the turns on their flips right around the 209 mark of the 200. So pacing very well right now. And then again, followed closely behind by Pols, Goucher, and Sandbrook. And we are halfway home. And as the girls finish up the first 300 yards of this 500. still to come. There's a heat of the boys 500, followed by the backstroke and then the breaststroke. Again, this meet moving along at a relatively brisk pace, and then no relays this evening. And we are approaching the final 100 yards. The official will make his way behind the blocks to indicate that we're about to head into the final 50 of the 500 as the bell rings. Taliaferro and Leiden finishing up those final 12 yards, and Taliaferro will touch the wall at approximately 5:31, followed by Leiden at 5:35. And Audrey Sambrook, the freshman, coming in on the outside lane, and she'll touch the wall at about 5:45. And then closing here will be Goucher and Pulse, and Pulse will touch the wall at 5:54 and follow quickly there by Goucher at 5:56. So many of these girls swimming the 200 IM as well tonight, so rough go. Perfectly content up here in the stands. So good solid swim by that group of 5 girls. Really strong performances, and all 5, I'm sure, qualified for states. The next up of Heat of Boys.
Oh. Same as last week.
All right, the boys have made their way behind the blocks, followed by, we'll have here Jake Oster in lane 2, the freshman, followed by AP O'Leary, the junior, in lane 3, Richie Black in lane 4, Dylan Bradshear in lane 5, and then Evan Allen in lane 6. Again, another strong heat put together here by coaches Pratt and DeWitt. So we have Oster, AP O'Leary, Richie Black, Dylan Bradshear, and Evan Allen. And the boys all take their turns right around the sub-30 mark. And from the outside, we have Bradshear and Allen pushing each other in lanes 5 and 6. They'll flip on the first 100 right around the 59 mark. And then followed closely behind by Black, and then O'Leary and Oster. Again, Allen and Bradshaw really pacing off each other. And Bradshaw and Allen will flip on the wall right around the 206 mark. And then AP O'Leary will flip around 212, followed by Black and Oster around 216 and 217 respectively. As we are into the halfway mark of this 500-yard freestyle. All the boys into the final stretches of the 300 yards. Richie Black closing some distance on AP O'Leary, as is Jake Oster. So the teams have about 3 weeks left of their 3 weeks of training left in anticipation of the championship event. In past years, it's been held over at University of New Hampshire in their pool. Typically aligns when the UNH swim team is at a conference championship and the pool is available. And the NHIA is able to cycle through the various divisions of state swimming championships there at the pool. This year, that'll be done just a little bit differently. And the boys are into their final 50 and 100 yards as the official rings the bell for Bradshaw and Allen at the far side. Richie Black starting to pull away a little bit. Good strong swim by the freshman, and AP O'Leary and Jake Oster right there behind. This is an event you don't typically swim in a regular swim season, so Bradshaw and Allen finishing really strong here, and they'll both finish right around the time of a 5:26, so really good strong swim by both Dylan Bradshaw and Evan Allen. Richie Black into his final 12 and a half yards. And Oster and AP O'Leary as Richie Black touches at 5:50. And then here comes Oster. He'll touch the wall at 5:57, followed there by AP O'Leary at 5:58. So good strong swims by the boys in the 500, and overall good strong swims by both the men's and women's heats in the 500. We're into the final two events of the meet with the backstroke upcoming, followed by the breaststroke. The first heat of girls will include Julia Strimling, the senior in lane 2, Megan Lyden, the junior in lane 3, and Milena Whitney, the freshman in lane 4. The girls will drop into the pool. Lyden makes that quick first turn, followed by Strimling and Whitney. Lyden will flip into the first turn with a splitter right around 29, followed by Whitney at 34 and Strimling at 37. Lyden cruising towards the wall, and she will touch at a time of 1:02, a really fast 100-yard backstroke swim. And here comes Whitney closing as well, and she'll touch the wall right around 1:09, and then Strimling closing in as well. And she will touch the wall at 1:18. So that completes heat one of the 2 heats of girls 100-yard backstroke as the girls exit the pool. And the second heat of girls will make their way behind the blocks and into the pool for their swim. Heat 2 will include freshman Nikki Brashure in lane 2, junior Emily Richardson in lane 3, senior Isabel Taliaferro in lane 4, senior Kennedy Healy in lane 5, and then freshman Sophia Kasem in lane 6. So again, Brashure, Richardson, Taliaferro, Healy, and Kasem. Richardson into the first turn. And she will take the turn with a split of 30, followed by Taliaferro at 33, Brashure at 36, Kasem at 39, and then Healy at 41. Richardson, one of the state finalists in this event last year, was to continue that strong presence this year. And she will touch the wall at 1:03, followed by Taliaferro at 1:09. Brashure at 1:15. Kasem at 1:21. And then Kennedy Healy will round out the heat at 1:26. Next up, we'll have the boys 100-yard backstroke. With Nick Casale in lane 2, Scott Anderson in lane 3, both seniors, and then sophomore Ian Hinsley in lane 4. As the boys drop into the pool. Anderson and Hinsley. And Casale. Anderson will take the turn at 28 seconds, followed there by Hinsley at 30 seconds. And then Casale at 34 seconds. As we round out the end of the backstroke, Anderson will glide in and touch the wall at just under 1:59 seconds. Followed there by Hinsley at 1:04. And then Casale coming in as well. And he will touch the wall at 1:12. Again, these are all approximate times. We're just going off stopwatches. Unfortunately, the timing system not employed this evening. Must have been a malfunction pre-meet. All right, last event upcoming will be the 100-yard breaststroke. And the officials are having a discussion right now with the representative from the YMCA. And the officials, and it looks like they've pulled
Final heat for the night. Time crunch.
So it looks like they will merge a couple of the swimmers here to see if they can qualify. So they will eliminate a couple of the heats, unfortunately, just due to the time crunch. So what would have been Audrey Sandbrook, Grace Van Valkenburg, and Fiona Lee in first heat will now only be one male and one female swimmer in the final heat, just due to the time crunch. So again, this event was to include 2 heats of girls with Audrey Sandbrook, Grace Van Valkenburg, and Fiona Lee. And the second heat would have been Jessie O'Leary, Sheila Matters, Reagan Rick, Erin Shandonette, and Tegan Jeffers. But that has been condensed to 1 swimmer. And then the boys was to include Quinn Hinsley, Dylan Bradshear in the first heat, and then the second heat would have been Sam O'Leary, Evan Allen, Jack Buffett, Richie Black, and Will O'Leary. But it appears to be, venturing a guess, but it appears to be Sam O'Leary in one heat, in one lane in lane 2, and then maybe Sheila Matters in lane 3. And as you can hear from their teammates, both these swimmers trying to qualify for states. Be encouraged and cheered on as such. Last year, Sam O'Leary qualified for states in this event on the final race of the season. And he's closing well now, and we'll find out. 1:16.97 and 1:20. And I believe that will conclude this evening's meet. Thanks to all the volunteer timers, of the parents who were here to assist, and thanks also to the YMCA for allowing the kids to swim, and also to BCTV and to the Bedford school system for allowing so many people to tune in online, and thank you to Corey Parker as well. So good, strong performance again by the Bedford Football Dogs as they return to the pool again next week for another meet. But thank you all for tuning in and have a good evening.